Good morning. I'm Dr. Bill White again, and I'm a general dentist that's done nothing but orthodontics for about the last 45 years. And I'm with the American Orthodontic Society, and I'm board certified in that. And I wanted to talk to you this morning some more about these Class 3 cases that we corrected non-surgically by removing the lower 6-year molars. And of course you got to have some lower wisdom teeth if you do this. So when you move things forward, you've got 2 teeth back there, and you can correct the Class 3 problem in many cases like this without doing the surgery. Now this is a young lady that I'm going to show you here, and she's got some other problems too. We had to go and separate the palate and do some other things. So it's an interesting case, and I'm going to try to share with you some things that we've learned over these years, and maybe make things a little easier for something that you might think of doing. This is the young lady's profile here, and she doesn't have too much of a the vertical part of the facial structure is pretty good. It's not too much different from that, and then up to so this is what we like to look at, get the face in the normal position here. Now when we look at her from the front, and I'm sorry I took a bad picture of this. This was back when we had to develop film, and once you got it, you had it, and that was all I had. So anyway, this is kind of bad looking at her with her eyes halfway shut like that. No big problem as far as, but you can see the prominence of the lower jaw here, and you see a little bit of deficiency in this area at the base of the nose and right around the lip structure right here. Not real bad, but you do pick that up from that view. Now when she smiles, of course you can see a lot more problem, and you can see these anterior teeth right here in a crossbite, and she's got cuspids coming up that are impacted or not totally impacted. They just don't have room to come in, so they're coming in here under the lips like that. This is not a bad case to treat. Now we go in here, and I'm going to show you, we felt like we could really treat this case by taking out the lower 6-year molars, and we expanded the palate. Let's see, we're in crossbite here too, so we're going to have to go out with the maxillary arch here and correct that. Excuse me. And we'll open this up and make room for these to come in, and this helps our problem too in here, and we'll take some of this fullness away as we treat this case. So it's an interesting case, and I sat down with the parents and I went over everything of what we would do and how we would bring this part in, you see, and we would eliminate this, and we would bring this tooth up to where it would meet in a Class 1 relation, you see, something like this in this area. And it really made sense to the parents. Both father and mother came, and we went over this, and they said, well, that sounds sensible, rather than going in and do surgery or something else on a case like this. So I made out an extraction deal for them to go to their dentist. And I knew the dentist. I think he may have sent them in to me Well, when he looked at that and said, take out the 6-year molars, he just had I mean, it just really floored him that we would even think about taking out these 6-year molars. Now, if she hadn't had wisdom teeth back here, we would never have suggested that at all. Well, they came back and I sat down with them again. We went over it, what they might do and what they'd have to do if we didn't do that. And they said, well, it makes good sense. See, we had crowding in here too, see, and we're going to have to bring this out. Of course, you'd bring this out something if the cusp is down. You might could get through, but then you'd have it really fuller than you wanted. So we went over it again, and they agreed that this made sense. I sent her back over to them, and he said, well, he wasn't going to take them out. And I knew him good, and we met at the Dental Society meeting. I said, well, do you mind if I have somebody else take them out? And he said, no, but I'm not going to take them out. So I sent them to an oral surgeon friend of mine and his, and of course he didn't bat an eye. He took them out just like nothing. I mean, when you send something in to the oral surgeon, tell him to take it out, he just went right after it, you know. So we got the teeth out, but let me go through the thing here and not take too much time on it. And it worked out just beautifully well, and I kept asking him. I sent her back into him to clean them and check them every few months there while we were doing this, and I would ask him at the Dental Society meeting how things were coming along. I knew they were doing good. Anyway, don't take up too much of your time while we're doing this, but now I came in and we separated the palate and we moved these teeth out, and when we worked off of this, had these teeth in the separator, these teeth were banded like this, and we widened this, and that increased her airway and everything. And then we expanded these a little bit. We brought the cuspids down in. I think I've got a picture of that too, so we'll just show you that later on. Now on the bottom, we took these teeth out, you see, and we brought these teeth back. We just backed these up until we got this far enough, and you bring this up to class 1 and bring this back and finish filling that in. The mechanics of it make good sense, and it does. It's an excellent way to treat a lot of these class 3 cases. Now, here we are in the treatment. I think we've got our palatal separator in. Yeah, it's got the bands on these teeth. I like to band them so when these go out, they'll bring the roots out too. And when you bring the roots out, you separate or widen the airway, and that helps so much in getting people to breathe through their nose, and that helps a great deal. And then we brought these teeth forward. You see, we open this spring, bring this out, and let me go over it and show it to you. It worked out just really quite well, and we've done a lot of these cases by extracting the lower the lower 6-year molars. Okay. Now here we are, we just put an elastic chain, bringing the cuspid down a little bit. You could have pulled it from here, that'd make a lot of difference. This is easy. Once you get the space for the tooth, it would come on in pretty easy. And we could have treated the class 3 problem by just doing that. Now this is the way we like to do palatal separator. I put a band on that tooth so it's rigid. Now these little old things where you put a bar down here and just push it just kind of leans that molars here, and it just leans it out this direction and leaves the root over here. Sometimes it rotates, and the tip of the root will go over, link one, and that even blocks more airway out. So when you're doing this, you want these roots out with the crowns. And when you first start cracking it apart, these will lean just a little bit for slack in this area. But then you hold them a while. If they've leaned, then you chew. The person is chewing on the lingual side. And if you stay in there a while, it'll bring the roots right out where the crowns are. And that's what you want. So you got to widen this airway right up above this area here to get it out. Now, so we make our palatal separators ourselves, and there's a big secret in these palatal separators. You make it, and you build them back in, and you keep it separated after you take these off, and you leave the space in between here where your spacers, and you fit this thing up in their mouth and just press it in as far as you can get it and leave it for at least 1 week. Just leave that in there, or maybe a few days longer, but it'll get food up around this part when it's not cemented, and it'll won't smell very good if you leave it very long, but leave it about a week anyway, and take it back and wash it real good and flush this area out. But it will adjust these teeth to where you get it cleaned up now, put cement in it, and you can go all the way up and cement the bands on those teeth good. And that's the best way. That little trick there will leave it in, and it'll adjust these teeth to where this thing will go in real good. And then we went in and widened this thing out. This is before we get it widened out. Alright, now we've got, you take these teeth out, and preferably start this thing that day if you can. If you can get them over and get the teeth out, and then just come back to your office and have all the brackets and everything on except those teeth, and they're extracted. And now you start moving these teeth together that day. Don't wait a week or 2 or 3 for it to heal up, because this bone closes in, and then you've got to move this cortical bone. So this comes together real good when you do that. Now I'll show you how to put tip on them so that you bring the roots forward with the crown. We'll bring this back to where you bring this up to class 1, and you see where you're going, where you bring this back to class 1, see? And you see how you're going, and you use class 2 elastics or class 3 elastics to help put those teeth in the exact place you want them. This is just pulling it together with elastic chain. I don't depend on it too much in doing this. Alright, here is the extraction. Now these are good 6-year molars, so a lot of people condemn you for doing this, but this is an excellent wisdom tooth also, and it's coming in. You just got to take a little chance. Now we'll bring this tooth right up in here and put it in there where it ought to be, and fill that in. So you can just watch this as we go. Excuse me. Alright. Now, here we are. We've got the separator in, and we're widening that out. We still haven't made the decision to, we haven't taken the teeth out anyway. And so, here we go. Alright, here now we take it out, and you can see. Now we got to bring this tooth up, and we got to have the roots as parallel as you can get them. You know, you bring it forward. So just watch those teeth as they come forward. Okay, now I started pulling over here, and I didn't put the correct little loop in there as you pull it, and so this one had moved a long way. Let me go back and kind of show it had gone from there to this. Now that you think, well, I'm getting ahead here, this slows you down really if you pull the thing and keep it parallel. Now most of the time when we get in here with a pretty good wire, a heavy round 018 round wire, but preferably like I'm using 18,000 slots, so I use a 1725 wire, and we build a little spring that comes out like this, and we go down, and then we drop that. You put this in here, and of course it's trying to go here, and you raise it up, and this little spring will tend to move the roots forward in here. As it does, it rears this tooth up, and you'll chew on it, the occlusion against this tooth right here and that spring, and you can end up with this tooth sitting right over in here where you want it, and the roots will be down under just like they are over here. That's terrible artwork there, but you get the idea. Alright, let's go on now to another one. Now we come in with that little spring, you see. So the space is not much more, but the roots are coming forward on this tooth. We've got them now about the same place, and you see these roots are good. Now you've got to think about keeping this from tilting back too if you're going to move it. So you may have to put some tip in this tooth. You can kind of put a little tip like that. That's not good. Draw it. Take the wire, and you got your bracket right in here. You come down here and go up and come here with the wire, and you hook that in there, and that makes these roots come back in that direction. You do anything within reason that you need to with teeth if you'll really learn how to bend wire. And that's one thing they don't have time, and they don't teach the orthodontics in orthodontic school a whole lot about bending wire. And some of them used to go out to Tweed's deal and learn a few things about it. Now here we're pulling it up, and now this is the wisdom tooth coming in up underneath here, see. Now I bracket this tooth and make sure it stays in line here. Now when you finish it, you have to make a retainer that keeps this tooth up. And so I've shown how to do that in a video. And then you let the wisdom tooth come on up in underneath here, which may come in a year or so after you finish the orthodontics. Now let's see how good we did some of this. Now there it is later, and we're holding this tooth in place, you see, and holding, waiting here. This has come up almost all the way. The roots could be a little more than these roots. I really would like to get them over this way just a little bit, and they probably will shift that direction. The arch wire tends to put them there some. Now, my throat's kind of getting choked up here. Okay, we'll continue on this. Now when I took the palatal separator out, I cut those deals off, left them so I could catch hold of that if I needed to. And this is age 16, nearly 17 years old now at this point. And this was 1988. Now, here we comb, and this one is 1989, and we've taken everything off the top. So I've got to put a retainer in there with acrylic that kind of goes under the edge of this, and your main wire goes around and circles around on the outside. And then you have to come back here and make sure that this tooth cannot go down. This acrylic stops it. But your wire could go down. So on the buckle you put something under the wire to hold it, so you have to snap it over there, and for this to go down you'd have to push this one down, and then this one is hitting here and it won't go down, and that'll keep this tooth right where it is until this tooth is able to come in. The wisdom tooth is able to come in underneath that. And it's you probably haven't tried that or done that in your retention. People don't teach enough retention. Now your upper wisdom tooth will come in, and you may have to extract it later down the line. I don't know, you leave it alone till a later date. So this young lady is nearly 18 years old now. The wisdom teeth still haven't gotten in, so that's, you kind of like to watch them until the wisdom tooth makes it. And I don't know what this one is. It's 1991. Well, she's 19 years old right now at this point, 19 and 3 months. And this tooth is still up here. So we're wearing a retainer that's keeping this second molar from dropping down above. And either she didn't have an upper wisdom tooth and we've had it out, but she's still got the one over here. She probably didn't have that one. Now on this side, you can see the tooth now coming through here, and it's in good shape. Now even these teeth have lined up good, you see, all through here. Now that's much better to me than going in there and doing surgery on some case like this. And we've done this on some rather severe cases. They get too severe, this doesn't work. We have to do the surgery. All right, we'll run through this. We used the intruding arch wire, and we got the teeth separated out. Now here, this is that little loop that I was showing you. Now, I need to, for you to really know how to bend that loop. So I'm gonna make a little page here, and here's this tooth, you see. And we're dragging it forward. We got this deal on the side. Now this little loop is something you're coming around this way in the arch wire, you see, and you get about between, say the bicuspid would be something like this up here, and your arch wire's coming through the bracket of the bicuspid there, and about halfway in here you come with the wire. The wire's going around this way, and you mark it where you're going to make this bend. And the bend, you go down and you circle back around, and now you come back up here and you activate it by pushing it here. Now when you put this in the slot here, your wire, of course, is going out here. Now as you bend that up, see that circle is like this. And when you straighten this, is headed here. When you straighten this out, that puts more pressure on this circle or the spring, and it works harder for you. Now if you think, well, I would hand a piece of wire to some dentist or whoever I would have in a seminar, and they were old dentists, and he said them to bend that loop, and invariably they'll come around here and just bend this like that, you see. Now this one, if you activate it down, you activate it and it loosens the spring, and you're trying to get the spring to tighten itself back up, but it just doesn't work 1/10 as good as if you make the loop this way. And now when I tighten it, when I activate it, in other words, straighten it out, then this loop will get tighter and it works harder for you. And that is a principle you need to get out in your wire bending exercise. That's what this thing right here would go down like that. And as I tie in that loop back in here to bring it too far, it brings the roots forward with it. And that's something that there's a lot of orthodontists don't know how to do that. I'm not kicking orthodontists. There's a lot of people we had in GPs, pediatric dentists, and everything else. They need to learn that when you activate one of these loops, you should be tightening it when you activate it. And it's working for you, trying to loosen itself back up. Alright, here we're widening it out because I've cut the palatal separator off. But you see, these teeth are not leaned over. In other words, this is no higher than it was to start with. And so this tooth went over actually bodily. It just went out in this direction. And you've got a much wider nasal airway now than you had. And one of these little push bars on those teeth just that doesn't cut it. So learn how to do that. Alright, here we are, and we're going through the case. That was a bad picture. Showed now here we are closed up. You see these teeth are pretty flat. They've come about this far already. See? And we'll bring them right on up, and they will be virtually leveled out. There's that little spring loop. See, we're tying into the spring, bringing it forward. We'll pull this to where it's class 1, and we'll take this to where it comes right in underneath here. And there's a little illustration, but you couldn't see. You need to always think it's this way. See? And you come up here and you activate it. And you can put more activation in that. If you put too much and you got a round wire, it'll roll the tooth one way or the other. It's much better to use a rectangular wire. See, the wire's going, well, it'd be the other way around. It'd be like this. And the wire comes out here and goes down and twists. It won't roll on you, and it'll bring your tooth straight into that. Now this is a blown up 1-to-1 picture, so you just really got to see this darn stuff to see how to do it. Now, I actually widened or moved this molar out further than the bicuspid. If you notice this, the arch wire comes out, and we made this deal, and we went out as we twisted this, and so this is out at another plane from this, which the bicuspid is fitting here, and that brought the molar out where it will work too. And it goes up under the cusp. These little things, you need to pay attention to them and do them. These little wing brackets are good. I stopped using them back when we didn't have good sealants, but we've got excellent sealants, You can bend these up or down, however you want to. The wing is kind of flexible, and where you put it, it'll rotate this tooth real easy. So I recommend that type of bracket. Now you use a little bracket, you see, so you've got a inner bracket space that wide. And if you're using double brackets, twin brackets, your inner bracket space is much shorter, and you can't bend this wire and activate it as much as you can with a little wider space. And then I use a smaller wire in all of our work. You can do anything under the sun with a smaller wire, as long as you got the big daddy wire on the outside if you want to expand. And by the way, you can put this large wire that costs you about 50 cents on the outside, and I do believe that I can do anything with a wire on the outside that you can do with putting all kinds of these fancy gadgets on the inside. And it doesn't cost you anything, and nobody's gonna sell that. They can't sell it, so nobody tells you about it. So people do not think you can do that, but you can take the large wire, and the big one up here, we put in that little hole down here. We kind of come in here and then just finish the wire back in this area. Okay, let's go to the big daddy arch wire. Okay, here we've lined up the upper and the lower, and everything's good. We'll try to get this on. We'll pull this on back. Now we pull this a little further, and we're going to pull these back, you see. Get them in there. Alright, we're nearly finished. My wife's making dinner on me, so I better hurry up here. So this upper is good, and we went on through this and got that space closed up, and here's the profile. Now you see this is the lip structure looks much better than it did when we started. When this was out further, we were able to bring that back in, and that improved the looks, and of course the way it worked out. And here it is. We've done everything but the three. We have bonded on the back yet, and we use no deals across the occlusion. This is a wraparound retainer, and it'll stay in. I can make these things stay in by putting acrylic under them and put them exactly where you want them. Now that's where we took this, and I'll show you how to keep this. You've put acrylic under this tooth right here, just a little bit. I mean a good composite, really. Then you have the retainer where the acrylic on the retainer holds the second molar up, and this snaps over this, and it won't let this wire go down because it hits this. It pushes the tooth down, and the occlusion keeps it up, and it holds the second molar in place until the wisdom tooth comes up in there. And there we are with that. Now, look careful here. You see this acrylic coming out here, and I'm gonna lap it over the, let me go back to that. I lap the acrylic over this tooth, you see, to hold it in place. And then I'll put a little composite under this wire there. Same thing over here, and you saw that second molar up here, it stayed in place for maybe a year or two while you're waiting on this wisdom tooth to come up from underneath here to come in contact. When it gets up there in contact, you'll have to go in and trim that acrylic off. Now I think the last 91, I think there's a little bit of this tooth appearing right there, the wisdom tooth. Alright, here's, I think, about the last picture. These are second molars now, and this is a wisdom tooth. It's there, and this one is just about to pop through the tissue over here. And there's the finished pictures of her. I don't know why that was in there, but that's the end of it. I tell you, after these teeth get in, she can go to about 10 dentists, and they can be good dentists. And if they don't know about this and don't have any records of it, they will not think that she's got wisdom. That this is a second molar and this is a wisdom tooth right there. Alright, hope you get to do this, and it is interesting to do, and you come out with a good facial appearance, and you've got the teeth lined up in a good class 1 relationship. So thank you for watching, and now I'll just go over here and stop this thing.